welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a look back at something many of us probably used way back when, Hotmail.
Ah, Hotmail. Definitely brings back memories, doesn't it? Maybe even an old, slightly embarrassing email address.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack its story. How did it go from this, revolutionary email service to something people actively avoided? And then its big transformation.
It's a fascinating journey. I mean, think about it, 30 million users by early 99. That's huge. So yeah, the big question is, how did something that popular basically vanish?
Or seemed to vanish, anyway. What made Microsoft essentially, abandon the brand they paid so much for? We're digging into the sources on this one.
Right. It's quite the rise and fall and maybe rise again story.
Definitely. But let's start at the beginning. Before the problems, what made Hotmail so special? What was that breakthrough?
Okay, so picture this. 1996. Sabir Bhattadia and Jack Smith. They had this idea.
And not much money initially.
Right, just $4,000 of their own cash to start. But then they got a $300,000 investment from a firm pretty quickly, actually.
And what was the big idea they built with that?
It was all about breaking free from your internet service provider, your ISP. Back then, your email was usually tied to your ISP.
Ah, right. So if you switched from, say, AOL to CompuServe, you lost your email address. And you could only check it on that computer setup.
Exactly. It was super limiting. Hotmail's genius was offering email totally separate from your ISP. You just needed a web browser.
Any computer, anywhere.
Yep. Log in on a website. That was it. This whole webmail concept, that was the revolution. Suddenly, email was portable.
That must have felt like incredible freedom. I mean, we take it completely for granted now.
Totally. And it wasn't just the access. They added features that seem obvious now, but weren't then.
Like choosing your own username instead of some random number string the ISP gave you?
Precisely. Personalization and the storage. They offered 2 megabytes.
2 megabytes. Okay, that sounds hilarious now.
It does. But back then, storage was expensive. Seriously costly. So getting 2 MB free, that was a massive draw.
Although, thinking ahead, maybe managing all that storage, even just 2 MB per user times millions of users, created its own headaches later.
That's a sharp point. It absolutely did. That infrastructure challenge became, pretty critical down the line, especially when storage costs started to plummet and competitors emerged.
Okay, so groundbreaking access, custom names, huge free storage. No wonder people jumped on board.
Oh, they jumped. The growth was explosive, like 100,000 users in the first month.
Wow.
And 1 million within 6 months. By the end of 97, so maybe a year and a half in, they hit 8.5 million users.
That sounds fast, but how does it, compare to modern viral growth? Like ChatGPT getting 1 million super quick.
Great question. Let's put it in context. ChatGPT hit its numbers in 2023 when there were, over 5 billion internet users. Its penetration was maybe 1.9%.
Oh, okay.
Hotmail, back in 96, there were only about 36 million people online globally. Tiny number compared to today, but Hotmail reached 2.8% of them.
So, relatively speaking, Hotmail's initial uptake was actually faster.
Right. That's pretty wild. Much faster, relatively. It really shows they hit a nerve, solved a real problem people had right then and there. It wasn't just hype, it was utility.
So this incredible growth obviously didn't go unnoticed.
Not at all. Enter Microsoft. December 1997, they bought Hotmail.
For how much again?
$400 million, which, adjusting for inflation, is closer to $700 million today. Hefty sum.
And Microsoft's thinking was buy rather than build.
Yeah, pretty much. Why start from scratch and fight rivals when you can just buy the leader, get the tech, get the users, boom. Strategic move.
And initially it worked out great under Microsoft.
It looked that way, yeah. Microsoft poured resources in, translated it into tons of languages, made it global.
And the user numbers kept climbing.
Oh, yeah. By early 99, 30 million users. They were signing up 150,000 new people every day. There wasn't much real competition yet. A free, fast email from Microsoft seemed like a sure bet.
But then the cracks started to show. Big ones, apparently.
Yeah, this is where things take a turn. Trust started to erode. Badly. The first major hit was a security flaw in 1999.
Uh-oh. What happened?
It sounds almost made up. Anyone, literally anyone, could log into any Hotmail account by just typing A as the password.
Wait, A. Seriously? EH?
EH, yep. It wasn't even a sophisticated hack. It was a flaw someone stumbled upon and then revealed publicly. The press called it the biggest security incident in web history.
I can only imagine the fallout. That's
Yeah.
breathtakingly bad. And it wasn't a one-off.
Sadly, no. Fast forward to 2001, another huge vulnerability. Hackers figured out they could access accounts just by messing with the username and some numbers in the URL.
Oh, come on. Again. How long did that one last?
That's the kicker. It apparently took Microsoft 24 days to fix it. User emails were just exposed for almost a month.
24 days. What on earth was going on at Microsoft? How could they let something that critical slide for so long?
Well, the sources point to major distractions. This was right in the thick of Microsoft's big antitrust battles. Remember the whole Internet Explorer versus Netscape browser war?
Oh, yeah. That was huge news for years. Consuming.
Exactly. It seems like a lot of the company's focus, legal resources, engineering talent maybe, was tied up in that fight. Hotmail security, it seems, wasn't getting the priority it desperately needed.
So security's shaky, user trust is damaged, and then the competition really heats up.
Precisely. Enter Gmail, April 2004. And initially just a beta, invite-only thing.
But it made a splash, didn't it? What was the big deal with Gmail?
One word, storage. Gmail launched offering 1 gigabyte of free storage.
1 GIG.
Yeah.
In 2004, I remember buying USB sticks then that were like 64 megs? Maybe 128 if you were lucky.
Exactly. Hotmail was still stuck offering, what, 2 MB? Maybe they bumped it up a bit, but nowhere near a gig. It was insane amount of storage. It made Hotmail look ancient overnight.
So how did Hotmail respond? They must have rushed to catch up.
They tried. Sort of. They eventually increased storage, but only to 250 MB initially. Still way behind Gmail's gigabyte.
250 millibit versus 1,000 millibit? Yeah, not exactly competitive.
Yeah. Nope. Microsoft knew they had deeper problems. They had this internal project, codenamed Kahuna. The goal was to build a totally new, faster, better, more secure system.
Sounds good.
But it took them 3 years to develop it. 3 years. In internet time back then. That's like an eternity.
Yeah.
The landscape shifted completely while they were tinkering away.
3 years is way too long.
Yeah.
It feels like they were constantly playing catch-up. Was it just internal bureaucracy, or did they just fundamentally underestimate the threat?
It's hard to say definitively from the outside, but likely a mix of things. And it wasn't just storage or speed. Spam. Hotmail became notorious for spam.
Oh, I remember that. So much junk mail.
Right. They really struggled to get a handle on it, and that just added to the feeling that Hotmail was, well, kind of crummy compared to the slick new Gmail.
So even when they did add features later, like trying to make it faster, work with Firefox, eventually Chrome, it was too little, too late.
Pretty much. Chrome support didn't even land until 2009. By the time they added things like Bing integration, better filters, Office doc viewing around 2010, the reputation damage was done.
And that quote from the Microsoft exec, Brian Hall, in 2012, really sums it up, doesn't it?
It does. He basically said people just weren't considering Hotmail anymore. They were actually uncomfortable having a hotmail.com address. It had gone from cool to kind of embarrassing.
A total brand liability. So what do you do when your brand is toxic?
You kill it, or at least you try to bury it. Microsoft made a huge strategic decision. Ditch the Hotmail name entirely, transition everything to Outlook.
Outlook.com. I remember that launch, July 2012. It felt very different.
It was meant to. Clean, modern design, a fresh start.
Yeah.
They let existing Hotmail users switch their addresses to at Outlook.com pretty easily.
And did it work? Did people buy into the rebrand?
Amazingly well, actually. They got 10 million signups in the first 2 weeks alone. People were genuinely excited.
10 million in 2 weeks. That's massive.
Yeah. By 2013, Outlook.com had 400 million accounts. That's more than Hotmail ever had at its peak, which was around 300 million. The rebrand really gave it a new lease on life.
And they kept improving Outlook after that.
Definitely. Integrated Skype, added proper IMAP support so you could use it easily in other email apps, plugins, dark mode, all the modern stuff.
But Hotmail isn't completely dead, is it? Like the domain name?
Nope. Microsoft still owns Hotmail.com, and if you go there, it just redirects you to Outlook. And crucially, if you still have an old @hotmail.com address, you can still receive email there. It all funnels into the Outlook system now. So the brand is gone, but the plumbing sort of still exists.
Okay, so that covers the rise, the fall, the rebrand.
Yeah.
But there's one more kind of unsettling piece to this puzzle.
Yes, the unexpected twist. Our sources mentioned that Hotmail, back around 2012, was part of that U.S. government surveillance program called PRISM.
PRISM, right, meaning?
Meaning government officials under that program could potentially access and read emails incoming and outgoing on the platform.
Wow. Okay. That definitely puts a different spin on things.
And importantly, the sources stress this wasn't just Hotmail. The program apparently included, and I'm quoting here, all the big tech companies you can think of.
So a much wider issue than just one email provider.
Exactly. It raises broader questions about digital privacy across the board during that era, really.
So wrapping this up, We've traced Hotmail's journey from that amazing start freeing email from ISPs to its huge popularity, then the security nightmares, the Gmail challenge, and finally, the successful pivot to Outlook.com.
It really is a classic tech story, isn't it? It shows how fast things change. Innovation, reputation, user trust. You snooze, you lose, you have to adapt, you have to keep users secure and happy, or someone else will eat your lunch.
Absolutely. And that final point about PRISM, it leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For you listening, how does knowing about this kind of widespread government access back then, even if it involved many companies, affect how you think about your digital privacy now, regardless of what the service is called today?
Yeah, it's a heavy question. Definitely food for thought long after the logos change.